Willie Hugh Nelson was born on April 29, 1933, in the tiny farming town of Abbott, Texas. It was the middle of the Great Depression, a time when most families were struggling just to survive. Abbott was a quiet place where fields stretched farther than opportunities, and life moved at the pace of the seasons. Willie's parents were very young when he was born, and before long they left, unable to hold their family together. Willie and his sister Bobby were raised by their grandparents, Alfred and Nancy Nelson. They were deeply religious people who believed in hard work, faith, and music. Nancy ordered hymn books and taught the children to read music. When Willie was 6 years old, she placed a small guitar in his hands. In that moment, music quietly became the center of his world. A boy who found refuge in music. Growing up in Abbott was not easy. Money was scarce, and Willie spent long summer days picking cotton and working in the fields. Yet music followed him everywhere. He heard gospel songs in church, western swing on the radio, and blues drifting from places he was too young to enter. By the time he was 9, he was playing guitar in local bands. At 10, he began writing songs of his own. For a boy who had already felt the absence of his parents, music became more than entertainment. It became a way to make sense of the world. While other children played without worry, Willie filled notebooks with lyrics and melodies. He wasn't thinking about fame. He was simply discovering that songs could carry emotions that were too heavy to speak aloud. Searching for direction after school. After graduating from Abbott High School in 1950, Willie stepped into adulthood without a clear path. He briefly joined the United States Air Force, hoping structure might help him find direction. However, a back injury ended his service early. Back in Texas, he worked a series of ordinary jobs, selling Bibles door to door, pumping gas, and learning plumbing. None of these roles truly fit him. Yet through every job, one constant remained: music. He played small clubs, honky-tonks, and local radio shows, often performing late into the night for modest pay. Those years were not glamorous, but they sharpened his skills and deepened his connection with audiences. Willie learned how to sing to a room of strangers as if he were speaking to just one person sitting quietly in the corner. The songwriter Nashville could not ignore. In 1960, Willie moved to Nashville with little money but a notebook full of songs. The city quickly recognized his songwriting talent. Artists began recording his work, and several songs became major hits. Hello Walls, recorded by Farron Young, topped the charts. Funny How Time Slips Away also gained wide popularity. Then came Crazy, a song made famous by Patsy Cline that would become one of the most beloved country songs ever recorded. Yet despite these successes, the industry did not fully embrace Willie as a performer. His voice and phrasing were different from the polished Nashville sound popular at the time. Producers often tried to reshape his style, but Willie felt most comfortable singing his songs exactly the way he wrote them. Simple, honest, and direct. Struggles behind the success. While his songs were climbing the charts, Willie's personal life was far more complicated. Early marriages struggled under the pressure of financial uncertainty and constant travel. Balancing family life with the unpredictable world of music proved difficult. At the same time, Willie continued writing and performing, determined to build a career on his own terms. The success of his songwriting brought recognition, but not the artistic freedom he wanted. Recording labels often surrounded his music with heavy orchestration that didn't reflect the way he sounded on stage. For years, he lived in a strange middle ground, respected as a songwriter, but still searching for the space to be himself as a performer. Those frustrations slowly pushed him toward a decision that would reshape his entire career. The fire that changed everything. In 1970, a fire destroyed Willie's home in Tennessee. Watching his belongings burn forced him to think about what truly mattered. Instead of rebuilding the same life in Nashville, he chose to start over. Willie returned to Texas, settling near Austin where a new musical culture was forming. The city was filled with young audiences who loved both rock and traditional country music. When Willie began performing there, something clicked. People embraced his raw voice, his relaxed style, and his refusal to follow industry rules. The experience reminded him why he started making music in the first place. For the first time in years, he felt free to create without worrying about fitting into someone else's expectations. The rise of outlaw country. During the 1970s, Willie became one of the leading figures in what would later be called the outlaw country movement. Alongside artists like Waylon Jennings and Chris Christopherson, he helped reshape country music by bringing back its raw honesty. Albums such as Shotgun Willie and Phases and Stages showed a new confidence in his songwriting. Then, in 1975, he released Red-Headed Stranger, a quiet and deeply emotional record that many executives had doubted. To everyone's surprise, it became a massive success. The single Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain reached number 1. Willie Nelson was no longer just a songwriter behind the scenes. He had become one of the most recognizable voices in American music. Fame, challenges, and resilience. Success in the 1970s and 1980s brought sold-out tours and international recognition. Yet, life continued to present challenges. In 1990, the Internal Revenue Service claimed Willie owed millions of dollars in unpaid taxes. The situation threatened to take nearly everything he owned. Instead of retreating, Willie faced the problem the only way he knew how: by making music. He recorded a simple album called The IRS Tapes, Who'll Buy My Memories, and continued touring relentlessly. Fans supported him, and over time, he paid off the debt. The experience reinforced something Willie had always believed. Material possessions could come and go, but music and the connection with listeners were the things that truly lasted. Loss, friendship, and reflection. As the years passed, Willie also experienced the sorrow that comes with losing loved ones. The death of his son Billy in 1991 was one of the most painful moments of his life. Later, he mourned the passing of close friends and fellow musicians, including Waylon Jennings and Merle Haggard. These relationships had shaped his journey through decades of touring and recording. Rather than withdraw from the world, Willie continued performing. Music became his way of honoring those memories. Songs about time, friendship, and loss carried deeper meaning as he grew older. His voice, always distinctive, gained a new emotional depth that audiences could hear immediately. Family, home, and the later years. In 1991, Willie married Annie D'Angelo, and their relationship brought a sense of stability that had been missing in earlier chapters of his life. Together, they raised 2 sons, including Lucas Nelson, who followed his father into music. Willie's home near Austin became a gathering place for family, friends, and fellow musicians. Despite decades of fame, he preferred the quiet rhythm of ranch life when he was not touring. Horses, open land, and evenings filled with music replaced the chaos of earlier years. Willie also dedicated time to causes close to his heart, especially helping struggling farmers through the organisation Farm Aid, which he co-founded with Neil Young and John Mellencamp. The man behind the legend. Today, Willie Nelson stands as one of the most enduring figures in American music. His career spans more than 7 decades, hundreds of albums and thousands of performances. Yet what truly defines him is not just the number of songs he wrote, or the awards he received. It is the honesty in his voice, and the way his music speaks to ordinary human experiences, love, regret, memory, and hope. From a small Texas town to stages around the world, Willie built a life guided by authenticity. He never tried to sound like anyone else. Instead, he trusted the quiet conviction he felt as a boy holding a guitar in Abbott. That simple belief carried him through every challenge and made his music timeless.